Hi everyone, and welcome back to Harp and Guitar, People and Music. So for today's video here on blues history, we're now moving out of the mid-1930s into the late 1930s. And for the song or the record that I want to feature today, it's an excellent example once again of a fantastic boogie-woogie. But this one became a huge hit through the late 30s and into the early 40s. This one is known as Roll-'em Pete, and it's a song performed by Pete Johnson on piano. He's playing a really rollicking, fantastic boogie-woogie or barrel house style of blues on the piano, and the vocals are provided by none other than the late, great Big Joe Turner. Now, Big Joe Turner is a classic bluesman who recorded a lot of jump blues through the late 30s and in through the 1940s, and really can be considered one of the founding fathers of the early rock and roll sound. Now, Big Joe Turner got his start in Kansas City, and he's known as the Kansas City Shouter. And that's because there's many different styles of blues vocalizing or blues singing, and one of them is known as blues shouting. And that's where, rather than singing in sort of a mellow, sort of a laid-back style, they literally shout as they sing, and Big Joe Turner is a great example of that. Now, in his early days, he was also known as the singing barman, because as a young man, he started off working as a tending bar in a blues club, and between sets of whatever band was on the stage performing, he would call out drink specials and that sort of thing, just hollering out from behind the bar. And he had such a big booming voice that everybody through the nightclub could hear him. And he would do it in a sort of a sing-song sort of way. He would make up short songs to describe certain drinks or drink specials and that sort of thing. And he really became sort of a fixture or a character within a lot of these older blues clubs that he was working. And this was prior to him becoming a musician. And eventually he parlayed this into a lot of notoriety, and long story short, he became one of the most famous early boogie-woogie style blues singers. And like I alluded to earlier, one of the founding fathers of the rock and roll sound. Now, Pete Johnson at this time was already a well-established blues pianist. His background laid in, as I mentioned, boogie-woogie and barrel house styles of piano playing. And Kansas City, Missouri was a real epicenter for this type of blues music, which later became known as jump blues. And with this record, Roll-'em Pete from 1938, I think it provides a fine example of how you can hear early forms of blues from the mid-30s to the late 30s, like this particular example, how they form the foundation of what later become known as rock and roll. And I think you can really hear the sounds of rock and roll in this record. So without further ado, we're going to jump now to this jump blues, this boogie-woogie style blues called Roll-'em Pete by Big Joe Turner and Pete Johnson. So stay tuned for that. And of course, before we head into that, please, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel here at Harp and Guitar, and let us know what you think down in the comments below as well. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions or any requests from either myself or my partner here at Harp and Guitar, Monk Music, please drop us a line and let us know. We'd be more than happy to try to cover that for you, okay? So here we go with Pete Johnson and Big Joe Turner, Roll-'em Pete, right here on Harp and Guitar, People and Music. So thanks a lot, folks. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
I've got a gal lives up on that hill. I've got a gal lives up on that hill. Well, it won't try to quit me, Lord, but I love her still. She got eyes like diamond teeth, shine like light that gold. Got eyes like diamond teeth, shine like light that gold. Every time she loves me, it melts my mellow soul. You so beautiful, but you got to die someday. leave you by yourself.